Hi beautiful people, it's a beautiful day again. So we are near the river. It's actually River Nanyuki, River Liki. It's borders Meru to Nanyuki, Laikipia County. So you can see it's really rained. Look at the dikes, look at the flow of the waters. It's really a lot. So today I'd like us to talk about becoming a river. Alright, so how do you become a river? By self-belief. You will notice that from the book of creation, from the story of creation, God actually did create 4 rivers in the Garden of Eden. We are told that from the river of God, there was actually 4 streams. It broke out. The river of God broke out in 4 tributaries. And of course, clearly all of them were significant to God, and He actually named them. So it is very important for us to actually understand that we have to be able to actually become rivers. Look at every part of the Bible. We are told that actually Christ, there are different citations or examples. We see that there was the use of the waters. So like for example, we see in actual sense like the Red Sea closed up against Pharaoh and actually opened up for the Israelites. So it is important to also speak to the waters to be able to open up for you to pass in various ways, so that it closes up for your enemies, like the Pharaoh actually drowned in the Red Sea. We can also see, according to John 5:4, we see that it's called it was actually Siloam, where we are told that the blind man was told by Jesus to actually go and wash off himself at the river. So you see there are many citations where we are told to become like rivers. We also see in 2 Kings 5:14 that Naaman was actually the servant. A servant was used to actually tell Naaman to go to the prophet, and the prophet told Naaman to actually go to the river Jordan to be able to actually wash 7 times. Then you can see still Jordan was a good river, because we are told, I can't remember the scripture, but you can remember the floating axe was actually in River Jordan. So rivers are very important for us to actually become so. Right? Then I'd like to take us through or talk about the 4 rivers that the river of God actually broke out in the story of garden, or the story of creation. That we are told that there are 4 tributaries from the river of God. The first one we are told was actually Pishon, which means increase. And if you read the Genesis 2, you'll find that you're told river Pishon increase basically meant increase, where there was actually gold. So you can see the elements are very important. Even God creating them, He just spoke a word. So we have to be able to understand even the symbolism of some of these things that we have around us. Look at that river. Yeah. So number 2, we see the river, the second tributary was actually called Gihon, which basically meant or was described as bursting forth. And bursting forth basically means overcoming the challenges of life, being able to overcome. Look at the river, the way it's actually flowing, right? It's anything that comes in its obstacle is actually able to actually flow through. So you can see we have to really understand what it means to burst forth, because in life clearly challenges will come, but we have to be able to actually break forth regardless of the challenges and regardless of the situations that we are going through. So we have to be able to actually overcome. Then the 4th one was called River Tigris. River Tigris basically means rapid. Look at that. For example, this particular river. Yes, allow me to go round. Yes, it's very rapid. The way it's flowing, clearly it's flowing in such a rapid manner. So we are expected to actually have rapid. We have to have increase. We also have to be rapid. We have to be like marathoners. We are told that it is like a race. So in a race, we must be able to be people who actually run the race, overcome, and also we are rapid and we don't fall off the challenges of life. Right? Then of course the last river of the tributaries, the 4th tributary of God's river, was basically Euphrates. Euphrates basically means fruitfulness. Look at, for example, the things that are growing around the river. Everything seems to actually be fruitful. It's actually, there's fruitfulness. Look at the trees. There's a scripture that says you're like a tree planted by the waters. You can see there's even a wall over there, but this, like that tree is actually breaking forth. It is actually able to, the roots are so strong, they can't, one, fall off even with the speed of the waters and even the barrier of the wall over there. You can actually see that particular tree seems to really have grown and tested and been able to actually have the test of time, right? Look at that water, so much. Yet the trees over here continuously, even if it was our dry season, and you know sometimes, for example, Nanyuki can actually be very dry. So, and this is a rainy season, but you're told we are like tree planted by the waters, that we must be able to remain fruitful, that we are like trees planted by the waters that do not ever dry up. Then we talk about Ezekiel 47. Ezekiel 47 basically talks about water flowing from the east gate of the temple. Right? If you read Ezekiel 47, you'll talk about water flowing from the east temple. Yes? So what that basically meant was that there was an increase of water. Even as the prophet Ezekiel was able to, it was like a vision, or it was what he was seeing. That every time it would come from the shore and enter into the water kept increasing. That, and you can see we talked about speaking to your elements and Magharib prayers, which happened at 6 p.m. You can see, for example, the prophets really understood how to talk to the elements, and even the seasons, and even the compass, the east gate. You can see even the river of God actually sprang from the east. Yes, you're told Job was the greatest man. He was from the east. Yes, so east is also very symbolic. We'll be able to talk about that in another video. So in Ezekiel 47, we can see the east gate, the east gate of the temple. That is where the river was actually flowing from. And we are told that Ezekiel would actually, as he got into the river, it kept increasing from his knees, went all the way to his shoulders, and he could not be able to actually go into the river anymore. And the Lord actually brought him back to the shore. Yes? And what that basically says, Ezekiel 47 talks about, when you get into the river, you get your healing. You have fruitfulness. Great multitude of fish was actually found. It was symbolism. It was symbolic that there was fruitfulness, that the multiplication of fish basically meant the issue of multiplication. Then we find the same Ezekiel 47:11. We are told, but when you go to the marshes, you can see, for example, at the edge, there is actually the marshes and the swamps where there is water that is stagnant. We are told there was no healing. But when you got into the waters that were flowing, what happened? There was fruitfulness, there was multiplication of fish, and there was healing. It's the same thing in life. When you decide to actually stagnate, what will happen is there is not going to be fruitfulness. Yes, meaning that when you become static in life, what happens is you don't enjoy the waters, you don't enjoy the fruitfulness, you don't enjoy healing. So in life, regardless of the challenges, we must be able to actually flow with the flow. Then if you look at the same Ezekiel 47:12, at the side of the river will grow all kinds of trees. Look at the kind of trees that we can see. So a river must be able to actually be fruitful and must be able to support life. It must be able, and the leaves would not wither, those that stayed there. And we are told that all the kinds of trees that there would actually produce were used for food. The rivers, the trees, the leaves for the trees on the trees actually produce fruit. Their leaves produce healing, right? They produce medicine. So in actual sense, you can see even the roots were actually useful. Just go read Ezekiel 47. We'll also look at another reference that is the same thing. Revelation 22 talks about the tree of healing of the nations. The tree of healing of the nations, which bore 12 fruits. So in actual sense, you can see we must be able to be people who believe in ourselves. We must be like rivers. We must flow like this river. Wow, look at that. Yes, remember this river is actually a boundary. It creates a boundary, and in most places in Kenya, when you come across a river, there is symbolism, there is symbolic. It's actually an end of a county, for example, like this is the end of the county of Meru and the end of the county of Laikipia County. So you can see, even as in life, you must become like a river that is fruitful, that of course you have like for the four streams. Actually, the four streams in the river, in the Garden of Eden, symbolizes income. You must have at least 4 streams of income. you must have at least 4 streams of income. Yes, you can see one meant rapid. You have to have a stream of income that is very rapid, that is bringing in your finances very quickly. You also have to be able to have one that shows fruitfulness, increase. Yes, so in actual sense, that's what the symbolism of becoming actually a river means. So bye guys, if you've not subscribed, do subscribe. We love you guys. Bye. Bye bye. We love you guys.